Welcome back to the channel. At the beginning of this year, Evil Wurst released the Raptor, a fantastic solo duo trio base that had a focus on exterior defense thanks to 3 auto turrets that provide 360-degree protection. It also meant that the main entrance could be concealed and protected by an auto turret. However, it came with some weaknesses that he promptly addressed. Most of these were fixable, but 2 particular things stood out. The roof stability bunker aspect was patched, which prevents players from clipping it through other building blocks. This also affected the roof honeycomb that concealed the first floor of the base. With the recent Building 4.0 update, triangle and conditional roofs could restore the design to its former aesthetic glory. With Evil recently going on parental leave, he asked me to see if I was interested in updating the design for him. Introducing the Raptor 2.0. It was difficult to improve the already impressive raid cost for its size, but I was able to increase the cheapest raid cost to the TC to about 30 rockets. To get all the loot rooms, raiders will need to invest about 40 rockets. Thanks to 3 external disconnectable TCs, griefing the base, picking up windows, or sealing themselves in once they reach the core TC will be considerably more difficult unless they invest around 60 rockets. Nevertheless, the high raid cost does not compromise on livability or everything you would need if you find success in your endeavors. This second iteration can still be built from a starter and in stages depending on your commitment or success throughout the wipe. It provides loads of room for storage and utilities, while not negatively affecting maneuverability. 3 auto turret pods still cover all angles around the base. Roof access means that if you desire minimal or extended expansion, you will have the option to provide more features or defense. Here's a tour of the base. Similar to the original, there are basically no spots where the auto turrets cannot see you thanks to the roofs never blocking their line of sight. Behind one of the auto turret pods is a redesigned entrance. Since it's now a single door frame, the auto turret had to be moved forward slightly to allow entry, but it should not drastically affect its performance. A nice side benefit is that when we have the auto turret pods closed, you cannot determine which pod has the entrance behind it. With the single door frame, we can instead utilize a double door to block players from potentially running in. If players do get past that, they have to avoid several well-placed shotgun traps. In this airlock room, we have a locker and a drop box which should be locked to slow down anybody that might be able to reach in and loot it otherwise. Going up this chute will bring you up to the roof or optional extension. Use the corridor for utility items. This central column is a fantastic location for a large battery for critical electrical components like auto turrets or even a SAM site. The auto turret pods can be operated remotely with door controllers, or it can be toggled manually from within the base. Continuing around the central column, we find more utility, including an optional CCTV station to monitor activity outside of your base. Optional backup generators fit nicely onto the shelf above the core chute. Entering the core, to our left we find one of the main loot rooms. I chose to give the Honeycomb a dual purpose by housing additional vending machine storage. The Tier 3 workbench was kept centrally located between both loot rooms. On this wall are smart switches to remotely open auto turret pod garage doors, toggle base lights, or SAM site if applicable. In this corner, you'll find a locker for your best kits and 3 sleeping bags. The main loot room provides ample storage, but most importantly, incredible protection to the TC thanks to these vending machines. Between these vending machines, you pick up the embrasure and reinforced window to access the TC. With these 2 things occupying the window, raiders will have to spend considerable boom to break both deployables individually if they're clipped properly into the vending machines. Though, even once the TC is destroyed, raiders will still not have building privilege thanks to the overlapping external disconnectable TCs. Additionally, raiders may not be able to reach the TC loot without investing additional explosives to break the vending machine, or valuable time in a non-stealable base, soft side raiding a partially damaged foundation. While this updated core offers fantastic features and defense for outstanding upkeep, some may desire a minicopter hangar or shooting floor expansion. For those people, you may consider this optional expansion that you can make at any point if you find yourself rich enough and don't mind the additional upkeep. So let's take a tour of that. Back at our entrance, going up the chute will bring us up to the battlement's floor. There are 3 beds, each with their own locker. The shooting floor can be accessed from the central corridor or ran along for full 360-degree coverage. These peek downs ensure that there are 0 spots to hide. The chute leads to the minicopter hangar, which is protected by an auto turret. Outside the hangar is a landing pad with flashing lights for nighttime landings. The roof has barricade deployables that provide minimal protection, but require no additional upkeep. On top of the minicopter hangar is our windmill and/or solar panels. I chose to use back-to-back auto turrets to protect these components, but you can always place them so that they guard the roof from players trying to ladder up onto it. Let's jump into the build. Once you locate the area where you want to build, verify the following footprint fits the terrain. This base does not strictly require flat terrain, but try to find a reasonably flat area, especially if you foresee eventually establishing a compound and external disconnectable TCs. Place a tool cupboard onto the center triangle, close forward and centered. If you need to enclose it with a window frame, you'll have to make sure that you upgrade the foundation to high quality metal later before you surround it with adjacent foundations. If you do enclose it now, use a reinforced window if you have it, or wooden window bars. Close off the starter with walls and 2 double doors. Alternatively, you can use 2 temporary wooden single door frames to lower the chance of getting deep down. If you're confident you will be able to make a conscious effort to use the double doors as an airlock, you can keep that instead. Fill up the starter with 3 sleeping bags, a furnace, and a large box. Use your first metal frag to replace the doors to sheet metal. Make sure, when placing triangle floors, that you connect them to the wall socket. This will ensure that rockets shot at the top of the roofs that will eventually form the honeycomb will not damage the floor tiles behind them. Once you're ready to expand out of your starter, place these respective walls. Optionally, replace these walls with window frames if you anticipate that you will eventually incorporate vending machines into the honeycomb. If you still don't have reinforced windows, you can keep using wooden windows. Just don't include high value items in this extended starter if you're using wooden windows. Alternatively, if you have the resources, close off the window frames altogether with roof honeycomb. Be aware that sometimes this can cause stability issues to the walls connected above it. This could especially affect the stability of a shooting floor's peak downs later on if it goes undetected. Ensure your order placement is correct by verifying that the building blocks are their correct stabilities before allowing their demolish period to expire. Use a furnace to jump up to the second story. Build the chute. Extend the chute by 1 square and add another double door for an airlock. To get in and out of the base, build a roof onto the square. If you opted for window frame vending machines below, you may already have these roofs done. In these rear triangles, build a half-height wooden shelf. This will later allow us to rebuild the loot rooms without difficulty. For now, this will act as a temporary loot room. Deploy items how you see fit. If you've been using the temporary wooden single door frames, now is a good time to hatchet them out and replace them with double door frames with sheet metal doors. Next, we'll expand the second floor and establish our main entrance. Place 2 double door frames and 1 single door frame. For now, you can occupy these with sheet metal doors. Have the double doors swing outward and the single doors swing inward. The double doors will eventually get replaced with garage doors and the single door with armored. Put a double door that swings towards the single door frame. This will create a door block airlock. Surround the rest of the second floor with walls. Close off the roof with the exception of that last triangle next to the entrance. The roof access chute should be at half height. Until you have a garage door, you won't be able to exit onto the roof. On the outside of the base, build out the other auto turret pods and finish the roof honeycomb. Feel free to use spare sheet metal double doors for the pods until you can replace them with garage doors. Before enclosing this triangle, build a half-height wooden shelf into the honeycomb. This will allow us to rebuild the main loot room shelf if necessary. Don't forget to upgrade the foundations under the auto turret pods to sheet metal. Back inside the base, upgrade this floor triangle to high quality metal. A large battery and its electrical components fit into this triangle. Close off the center column triangle with a window frame. Later in the video, I show you the schematics for this circuit. If you plan on using multiple electric circuits, we recommend hooking up critical infrastructure like auto turrets to this battery as it's the most protected. Outfit the corridor with deployables as you see fit. Use shotgun traps in these locations. If you want to include a locker or a large box in the airlock, make sure that you have a code lock on them. If you choose to have a CCTV station, I recommend mounting cameras on these corners and to angle them downward. Optionally, you can occupy this half-height triangle shelf above the chute with backup generators for your auto turret electrical system. As you acquire the resources, upgrade the respective building blocks to their final build grade. Prioritize the core and work your way outward. If you haven't already upgraded the TC compartment foundation to high quality metal, do that and then seal it with a window frame. Upgrade the following to high quality metal. And then upgrade the rest accordingly. When you upgrade this wall of sheet metal, make sure that you rotate it so that the hard side is facing you. Replace these respective sheet metal double doors with garage doors. Below the chute, use window frames with reinforced windows when you log offline. Going back to the TC, clear out your main loot room and place 2 vending machines. Make sure that they're placed as close to the wall and as straight as possible. Make sure that you keep a slip between them to access the TC. Then, place a reinforced window and a vertical embrasure. If placed correctly, this will ensure raiders have to spend about 8 rockets to get access to the TC, but possibly 10 to reach the loot bag. Then, place a wooden half-height shelf and fill up the room with the storage deployables. Place a locker against this wall. It is possible to cram up to 3 sleeping bags in this area with patience. Tier 2 and eventually Tier 3 will occupy this spot. You can fit 2 large boxes and 4 small boxes here. I keep my electrical control switches on this wall. If you chose to integrate the vending machine honeycomb option, crawl into this roof with nothing else but the 2 deployables. After you're done placing them, open the console with F1 and type kill. Repeat this process for the other spots. Build out a 6 large box loot room in the furthest square. Put 6 small boxes between these 2 triangles. Occupy the chute with a ladder hatch. Replace the chute double door with a garage door. For the rest of the second story living space, you can choose to leave them sheet metal if you want to save some gears. Through my testing, it doesn't seem to lower the raid cost performance, but if you want the corridor to feel more open, use garage doors. If you do choose garage doors, just make sure that the roller is facing away from where the auto turret pod roller clips through the wall. That wraps up the core of the base. Next, I'll be showing you how to build and furnish this optional extended version, which includes a shooting floor with peek downs, several beds with lockers, a minicopter hangar, roof access, and power generating. Start by attaching triangles to the edges in this configuration. So long as the stability below isn't glitched, you should be able to place these without difficulty. These will become your shooting floor peek downs. On the perimeter, place window frames and single door frames. Occupy the window frames with horizontal embrasures and keep these doors open. Optionally, you can place campfires, small boxes, or planters to increase line of sight. Place walls on the triangles and garage doors on the squares. This area will become a bedroom respawn point for quickly re-gearing to defend against an online raid. Each bed gets its own locker. Have a small box nearby with a building plan and hammer with some extra mats to repair reinforced windows. Occupy the window frames with reinforced windows when you log offline. This triangle can house a second large battery. This battery is much less secure, so I would only hook up non-critical components to it such as door controllers, CCTV cameras, lights, or heaters. Separate the bedrooms with 3 double sheet metal doors on the center triangle. Place a large box above the first chute and one in this triangle. Before placing the box though, consider placing a shotgun trap in the corner, then the box in front of it. Remember to guard each chute with shotgun traps. Seal off this level with a sheet metal ceiling except for this triangle where we will make another chute that brings us up into our minicopter hangar. Build out window frames and a double door frame. Keep the window frames occupied with reinforced windows at all times. Use a garage door for the roof access and the chute. Above the chute, place an auto turret. On the roof, place concrete barricades on the edges of the peak downs. These won't provide great protection, but they don't require any upkeep. On top of the base, I either use a windmill or a SAM site with solar panels and back-to-back auto turrets. You can surround these with wooden low walls to hide them from the ground. Since this base relies heavily on reinforced windows, it is essential that you establish external TCs early into the build process if possible. This will prevent raiders from being able to pick up your windows if they reach your main TC, but also keep them from easily singling themselves in or griefing your base thanks to the overlapping privileges. I go into more detail on the importance of these exact things in my most recent guides. Those will be linked in the card or in the description below. For now, I'll be showing you how to establish external disconnectable TCs with a basic design. Place 2 triangles, then attach 2 squares to them. Build out 3 more squares, then build 2 more triangles. Build 4 double door frames in a straight line with the last one diagonal. Remove these triangles and foundations. Place a triangle next to this one. At this triangle, place a square, then an elevated square. Build a triangle off of that square. Enclose the TC square with walls and 2 window frames leading out through the triangle. Outside, remove this square and place a roof onto the end of this triangle. Inside the square, you should now be able to place a half-height triangle floor off of this wall. Upgrade this to wood. Build 3 of these in total. Furthermore, I recommend placing 3 additional basic external TCs, 1 in between each disconnectable TC. A quick explanation for the uninitiated. When this triangle is present, it connects the TC and thus the building privilege along these building blocks. This overlaps the main base privilege to prevent raiders from replacing the TC, picking up windows, or sealing themselves inside your base. With this and the 2 other disconnectable TCs, it will ensure raiders have to spend more explosives if they want those privileges. If your main base TC is destroyed, hatchet out the soft side on all 3 disconnectable TCs, replace the central TC, then reconnect the triangles. In this basic external, you can fit a sleeping bag with a campfire that has some basic tools and materials. You can fit several large boxes to store extra loot, gear sets, or other stuff to help you restart if you get raided. It could even be a cheeky hiding spot to hide some high value items if you're anticipating getting raided. You can upgrade these triangles and roof to high quality metal to slow players down from soft siding the foundations to disconnect your external TC from you. Alternatively, you can incorporate auto turret pods hooked up to heartbeat sensors that open to kill players who might be underneath the roof piece. Be aware that some players will camp under these or behind your externals as you leave your base. Optionally, we can establish the Alone in Tokyo style gatehouse entrance with compound walls. Again, be sure to check out my guide if you want more information on how to incorporate these kinds of things and some designs for them. Lastly, we'll be going over 4 potential electrical systems. You can find the schematics to all of these linked in the description. First, we'll be going over a single battery system. This basic circuit can support 3 auto turrets, an optional SAM site, and lights. This advanced circuit still supports 3 auto turrets, an optional SAM site, but also CCTV cameras, storage monitors, heaters, and even a heartbeat sensor in addition to lights. If you use the preferred 2 battery system, you can use the central column battery to support up to 6 auto turrets and a SAM site. Then, you can use the second battery for non-essential electrical components. I encourage you to modify these circuits with the features you desire. On top of the base, I either use a windmill or SAM site with solar panels and back-to-back auto turrets. If you're using the windmill and solar panels, you can combine all of their power and then split it between 2 batteries. The windmill will be constantly generating power, while the solar panels will only create power during the day. This way, the solar panels charge most of the batteries throughout the day. Then come nighttime, the windmill holds the battery over until the next morning. For now though, that will conclude this second iteration of Evil Wurst's Raptor. Remember, there are lots of options to customize the base to fit your needs. You can always skip the extension and just live out of the fantastic core. But if you value defense and features, this base allows you to easily expand with a shooting floor, peek downs, respawn rooms, and a minicopter hangar depending on your success during the wipe. Furthermore, this design allows you to easily establish a compound and turn the external disconnectable TCs into turret-equipped flank bases. Whatever you decide, I encourage you to give it a try. Special thanks to Evil Wurst for asking me to make a second iteration of the Raptor, and to the numerous people from the Easy Building Discord for providing invaluable feedback and ideas. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing for future content, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.